think this negates medical malpractice, right? So saying like there needs to be this ability that we shouldn't ban, and we should also understand that there are genuinely some rare instances that
they're acting as if they're in a dialogue, a conversation.
But at the same time, because we are
so
seeing a rise, we are seeing sort of an abuse of this in some ways. I don't think that this. I don't think that we should turn an eye, or, turn it and say there's no medical malpractice going on. I mean, I think that we could certainly put more parameters down and to prevent medical malpractice.
See, she says parameter.
These medical, professionals liable.
Parameter said Eglin. Eglin said parameter.
To me, it comes down to it's two issues for me, and like why I engaged myself with Matt Walsh, for example, on this issue, is because for one, I think that it is an overblown. I think that some people,
I'm not back to making this type of video, but
really huge
I have this.
Every parent needs to be
she went on them again.
It's very akin to after 9/11 when it was like terrorists are everywhere. And the minute you step outside, if you're not diligent looking both ways, you're going to get blown up.
The parameter thing is Eglin Air Force
It's not a real true threat. And they made us, they made it sound like it was a real threat for a very long time. We ended up with the Patriot Act. We ended up with all of these controls on our lives.
This is conspiracy science
going through TSA.
That they're 100% scripted. Apparently Oz got fired or
things as an excuse. Because they were afraid of
plunking him start fake using his kids.
And we now know that the threat of terrorism.
They're making it seem like it's some big deal to hit a few buttons,
and it's
put
the
up
same thing, I believe, for
screenshots.
this sort of movement that's going on.
I don't know much about this screaming stuff, but I know
they're thinking
right there she's reading from the script.
Now, pedophilia is actually way more rampant.
So they're talking as if this is organic, it's incestuous, they go on the same shows. This is the fake news, the entrapment news, the CIA Project Mockingbird style news.
But the increase came from very small numbers.
So I'm going to slow this woman down, and we're going to see precisely
any of your friends. I mean, are you
how she's reading off of a teleprompter.
Are your friends' kids saying they're trans? And usually the answer
I'm saying you're scripted and shoving people, simulating actions and outcomes. It's called Snowden documents. It's called You Busted.
It's a very... People aren't experiencing this.
This woman was captured already by another channel.
Huge problem. It's pervasive.
She's reading a script.
Must be afraid.
Should be Schadenfreude, but Salon, all that crap. I know about that stuff. Not one of them interviewed me.
You were still their
when
parent.
The Kimberlin thing
and
was about
me.
Say,
I think I'm a boy or I think I'm a girl now. You would still
there was weird shenanigans going on
and you would be parenting them
back in the day.
This entire time.
Tied to Adrian Lamo.
I just think it's an overblown.
By the way,
and then I think it's in a distraction for sure.
Brandon Darby, Lee Stranahan. Lee Stranahan's tied to Sputnik. I still haven't really had comments agreeing with the obvious that they're scripted. Alright, this is sort of a hassle to put these together. I have to stop and go all over the place because I only have the demo, so I go up to 5 minutes. Alright, so that's the end of part 1. In part 2, we're going to slow her down and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This is conspiracy science. This is the Conspiracy Science Show. Okay, cut. You gotta edit this and then slow that down. Yikes, coming up to 5 minutes. Alright, thank you. Take care, I'll be back. You zoom in on the eyes. This is at 0.4 speed. This is the same exact video from before, just slowed down. I can mute out sounds. I think I have to blow my nose. There's something called loudness normalization. I just figured out some basic audio tricks. This proves she's scripted. I'm live. This is live. Live, no edits. They go live, but they're scripted. About 2 minutes left of this, and then there's actually more. Horizontal movement. There's always the likelihood of multiple teleprompters. Poinkin likes to shift around to like 4 or 5 of them, apparently. She's shaking her head. Oh, that explains the sideways nodding. They're reading. Best one, in my opinion, was when Allie said Sam Cedar, when she blurted out Sam Cedar. I intuited a reverse psychological operation on them. It was a boomerang. Whatever they did to us rebounded onto themselves. We're all messed in the head. They're really messed up. So she's moving sideways. Her eyeballs, her head, her actual head. She's like thinking that troll's gonna, that guy, he's gonna notice that we're scripted, and he's gonna make a video on it. Alright, I'll edit this, whatever's there, and then there'll be one more round. Thanks for your patience. This is conspiracy science. This is the conspiracy science show, I must say. I'm gonna click some buttons. Oh, I'm way over the time limit. It's the next day. Here's Kim. 7:41 a.m. September 5th, 2022. Just thinking about what Mike Tyson said. He thinks he's gonna die soon. I'm the same age as Mike Tyson. There's a point in our lives when we realize it's not going to last forever. I think that's basically what Mike is starting to realize. It can be terrifying, but it's really simply the unknown. I'm looking at Kim. It's at a little bit less than half speed. This is like the end game of my special interest of cropping out their faces and studying their eyes. There are two things going on. I proved it, that they're scripted. Then there are all the ramifications of that. Like, how can every word be scripted? How can there be so many shows that are tied to one another and they're all scripted? How is this any way to live? There was a second thing I wanted to say, but I have no clue what I was going to say, so it probably doesn't matter. Nothing we say really ever matters. Usually stuff matters. It should matter. Matter is simply existence. Something exists. Exists? Did I put the S on the end? Something exists. It's early. There's something. It's never too early to sound like Ted Baxter, though. Whoa. So I got a little coffee sound over there going on. A little clicking, whatever that is. Oh, she just shifted. Did anyone else just see that? So I'm drinking coffee. I was talking about Tyson realizing he's going to die. Well, duh. You know, if he has something serious where he's going to die soon, then he should mention that. Otherwise, he sounds like an idiot. Mike must have so much bad karma rolled up. He beat up an old woman, I think, when he was a kid. He was like 16, right before he became a professional boxer. He was a criminal, basically. Mike Tyson. He's put in prison for rape. Kim, look at Kim. She thinks she can look forward. If she moves her head closer to the camera, then no one will notice it. There's a deep psychology going on to this program. No one is going to take that job unless they're coerced into it. Unless there has, because they're all showing extreme signs of drug abuse, that defies laws of probability. Hard grimace from Kim Iversen right there. How old is she? 35? I mean, I'm guessing. She could be anywhere from 30 to 50, right? So I'll say 35. She doesn't look that old. Now, but some people can be 50 and look like they're 30. Okay, I crop that out, but who cares? It's just me talking. This only goes on for about 6 more 5, 4, 3. I'll be back. I'll come back. I'll keep talking. I said I'd come back, and here I am. This is unscripted. Just gonna shut up for a second. Note to self, noise reduce. That's the AC. So that's how you noise reduce. You shut up for a little bit. You grab that part where the AC is going, or whatever noise is going on you don't want in the video, the audio. It reduces it. So I do these little tricks because I have something called empathy. People with autism have empathy. We just have difficulty expressing it. We can't get the words out or something. We're all different too. It's a spectrum to it. So anyway, I'm doing really well on a personal level. There's the big picture of the world, and then there's the little picture of ourselves and our individual day-to-day lives. We can feel guilty when things are going well for ourselves, when everything else is going wrong for others. It's just how that thing ticks. It's how it's going. Now this stuff about how nothing ever gets better, how everything is rigged and fake, that did drive me mad my whole life. Not mad as in psychotic, but just radical. I was so radical. I was even more radical than Anarchy in the Morning. That kind of radical. The real deal, the real stuff, the true. You know, Coffee Machine, I'm trying to put together something informative yet entertaining. Yet if you keep popping off, some people think every object has spirit. So going on that type of thought, that type of point of departure, I feel I have the right to talk directly to the Coffee Machine. But anyway, so I'm trying to move on from looking at the table. I see an eyelash. I hate that. I heard Tesla had issues with other people's hair. I have trouble with all little pieces of hair. I don't want to see them. I'm not a full-blown Aspie, though, somehow. It's interesting. People are definitely interested in autism, Asperger's. There's a huge chunk of the population that is undiagnosed. I'm one of those people. I only just figured it out about 5 years ago. I'm guessing on that. I'm not the type of Aspie who can rattle out facts, although I can retrieve information rather easily. I'm an abstract type of thinker. I'm more of a philosopher type. I think the analogy is you go on the moon, there's less gravity. There's still gravity, but just not that much. So those guys afloat, when they filmed, I think they filmed that in the Vegas desert or in Alaska somewhere. I'm not sure if it was Coppola who filmed the moon landing. Of course we didn't go to the moon. It's called conspiracy science. And that's where this video right here is going to come full circle. It's going to make complete sense. Yes, it's going to be sad that I'm not downloading Combo Couch and they're so radical. I can't believe how radical they are. I think that's funny. I might have to work on that shtick a little more, but I think that type of sarcasm gets big internal chuckles. They're so scripted is more like it. So I've got Asperger's. It took a long time to figure it out. It's embarrassing to myself. You know how we have ourselves as our number one companion? That was actually disproven by Krishnamurti. The observer is the observed. But thinking in terms of the old ways of conditional thinking, we're our best buddy. And I let down my buddy, myself, by not recognizing that I have autism. It sort of makes a difference. It made an impact. So I was in that group of people. It's going to be like a 30-year period of time. People have already died who were undiagnosed. So they figured out Asperger's in the 40s, yet it wasn't until the 90s that it was starting to be recognized more easily. I should throw in more easily. Anyone with the info from the 40s by Hans Asperger would be able to see it. So if we had that info before, it would have helped a lot of people, including myself. So people like myself, we were well educated, socialized, we had normal neurotypical upbringings. Oh, before I get into that, so that's the game plan. But that's tied in to what I'm saying, the flow that I'm on now. The flow is basically that people with Asperger's need structure. When we have everything lined up, we spend less time getting befuddled by sensory overload. I'm a whistleblower for autism, seeing that I have it. And I think I'm in a unique situation in which I was raised neurotypical and I went that whole life neurotypical. And things didn't really fall apart until I hit about, I'd say, 30-ish. Maybe late 20s, 30-ish. The structure got lost. And then I hit a rut and I was on the internet, which exacerbated the sensory overload. So the sensory overload got moved into the mind. So there's a sixth sense called the mind, our brain, our mind. There's the mind, there's the brain. We're not sure. We as in you too. Me, everyone. When I say you, I'm always speaking to everyone. That's the difference between myself and some others in this world, and then the rest of them. All the rest of them. Wow, I've talked for over 8 minutes. This is going to be the type of thing where I don't edit at all. I don't know what I'm going to add for video background, but I always find something to slot in for a background. So I'm moving to a better life. It won't last forever, I realize that. I'm in the Mike Tyson, I'm going to die soon kind of zone. So I figure I have anywhere from, with bad luck, anywhere from 10 minutes to probably, I'd say I could go 40 years. If I went 50 years, then that would be wild. I think it's definitely possible I could go 50 more years, but realistically, I have approximately 20 to 30 years. If we can only really expect to get into the 70s, maybe some 80s. And then everything after that becomes like gravy. If you can pull it off, then do it. Why not? You go into the 90s and then hit that 100. Some people pull that off with quality of life. That Queen of England, they're talking up shit. Oops, there's that AC again. Note to self. Yes, let some time run where you're not speaking I'm speaking to my buddy here, myself, which was debunked by Krishnamurti. But that was already gone through. Yes, right there, buddy. Capture that non-talkative seconds and then reduce it from the rest of the video. Thank you to myself. You're welcome. That's myself yet again, I guess, showing gratitude to myself. But anyway, tough crowd. But anyway, that's my plan, to no longer have staring at disinfo shells and studying their faces. I'm done with that. Took a long time to become done with that, but I think I'm finally done with that. I'm not going to share every I'm not going to go into every part of my life, my background, although the AFB tends to be an open book. We want to be understood. So I got into a rut. I went into the internet, just like most people. I have a lot of knowledge on the internet. I have a lot of first-hand knowledge of, note to self, mute out that cough. Note to self, smoke up some weed to get some momentum going here. This is starting to tail off. Note to self, drink some more coffee. Try not to cough. Note to self, don't edit anything. If there are gaps, nothing's getting edited. So self, who am I? I'm you. But that's good coffee. I've been addicted to coffee since I was a little kid. Since I was about 12. I was at a summer camp. I was at some type of camp. There's coffee galore and no one was stopping me from drinking it. Must have had about 15 cups. It's probably my first experience with drug abuse, which was coffee. But I had a smart grandfather who told, as a little kid, the grandfather told us, his nickname was Puppy. Oh, it was a great nickname. Calling your granddad Puppy that's a funny name. But anyway, he told us stay away from cocaine. I don't think he mentioned anything else. I don't think he mentioned heroin. If he did mention anything else, it probably was heroin. So he said cocaine. He said stay away from cocaine. I was like 5. So I didn't do any cocaine. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything really till I hit 18. Then I noticed marijuana. But other than that, I just want to say that they think marijuana could cause psychosis. It's really everything else that causes it. The thing with marijuana is people have to be smart with it. If it's holding you back, you don't do it. There's a universal general rule. You get your work done. If you smoke it and you can't get your work done, you don't smoke it. If you're a kid, why are you trying to get high all the time? Don't even do it. Don't go there. Be careful what you're ingesting for ideas, and just relax. Get into breathing. So I'm moving away from getting fixated. I want to be like the cool guy who says don't take drugs. I always felt I was a little too cool to have autism. I'm not trying to offend anyone with autism. Oh my God. The only reason I know I have autism is because, well, it's not the only reason. Well, it is. I saw an individual She was disheveled, but she was articulate. She said she had Asperger's. I was like, what? So I started watching her more and more, and then by the end of it, I'm thinking, do I have that? You can have that without it being apparent you have that. So it's what's called an invisible condition. Ovarian cancer is an invisible cancer. It whispers. So if someone's on the so-called spectrum, but it's the so-called high functioning, it doesn't show up. No one notices. They think, he's a little eccentric. Stuff like that. It's only with the internet and with life and with time, reflection, whatever it is, I didn't figure this out till I'm already in my 50s. So I was a little bitter. I found out all those shows are scripted. I found the teleprompter on fault lines. I get no comments except from people who don't seem to be conspiracy scientists. They seem to be the kooks, the nut jobs, the shills. Not all of you guys. I'm not going to name names. And I'm not looking for any trouble. But, trouble finds me. I don't go looking for trouble. Trouble finds me. Who said that? That was probably from like hundreds of years ago that someone said that. Because I remember that one from way back in the day. Things like that used to interest me, but now the internet's dead. They ruined the search engines. So you might as well listen to some kook, some random kook. Just make sure they're unscripted and authentic. You're better off wasting time with people who are authentic, even if they're a little eccentric or whatnot. So moving forward, I got structure lined up. It's 8:21 a.m. Well, yeah, I already got in my Tai Chi. I've been going to bed early and waking up early, and I'm not napping so much during the day. I have to take a pill for my heart, and that usually wipes me out, but not lately because I have more energy. I'm fighting through that debilitating tiredness, and then it goes away. I've never been depressed. The key is to not be depressed. If we're in ruts and we're depressed, then you're stuck. You're not getting out of that thing. So today's lesson, to wrap this up, is if you need help, go get it, but be careful who you get the help from. So I was lucky about half a year ago, or I forget exactly when, I finally, well, even before then, about a year or two ago, I started looking for help. And then about a half year ago, I finally found a psychologist that I could trust and respect. And this woman's been helping me out tremendously. She already recognizes that I have autism. She hooked me up onto Tai Chi. She's got me doing other things that are just, that got me put back together. So Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. I was Humpty Dumpty, but I got put back together. But you have to do it yourself. So you have to use your wiles, your smarts, you still have to vet, even when you're at the low point of life. If you hit a low point of life, you have to find help. You have to find other people who can help you. But you still have to vet. You still have to, not physically fight, but you have to be brave and patient. You have to have patience. and then the good things happen. I'm not trying to sell any of that new thought craziness, that Freemason, that theosophical nonsense. I personally have deep, well-formed opinions at this point of why everything sucks and why nothing ever gets better. It's quite depressing. I think the truth is better to be known. And I think the other truth that I try to get across is you can't let that situation drive you into a rut. You have to recognize that even though those shows speak to that exact frustration with the world, or social reality is the phrase the critical theorists used, or thinkers used, social reality. You can't go into the rut. You have to maintain the spark. Now, the spark can work on its own. There are tricks to the Zen trade, so to speak. So the key is to not physically fight, but to be brave. That was a good point I made. And you have to have patience. You have to seek help from people who one can trust. And this applies also to people who don't have, who are neurotypical. They don't have any of this stuff going on in their mind. The sensory overload, or they don't have bipolar. They don't have the ADHD, what other people are going through. They don't have trauma, or they're doing good. So even people who are doing so-called good, they are not off the hook. They need to work at life. They need to be brave and all those other things. It's so depressing that we have no influence. We have no power. But it's still the right thing to try. It's still the right thing to get across to as many individuals as one can, deeper meanings, to help them, to guide them, to mentor. I'm getting mentored, I'm getting guided, and hopefully some of my videos, in moments, in sparks, here and there, I'm able to get across. So if anyone out there thinks they might have undiagnosed Asperger's, I am willing to let my videos help you. If someone out there is just so, they don't know what to do, the internet sucks and the news sucks, then yes, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to give back. The key is to be patient and brave. I guess that's today's lesson, those 2 points. Be patient and be brave. And maybe look into the Tai Chi. It works. The breathing. There's something about breathing. It's automatic that we breathe. It's also not automatic that we breathe. One can control their breathing. So there's nuance and subtlety to this life. That's a phrase that I've used all my life. In internet life, I mean, nuance and subtlety. Why isn't there more nuance and subtlety? So then those shows, see, this is why I'm quitting watching those shows. Because even though I would barely ever listen to them, anytime I would listen to them, I'd hear them repeating my shtick. And that probably sounds a little nutty, a little crazy, but there's something called circumscribing. C. Wright Mills said that the power elite wants to circumscribe everything into their power grid. So now they have all this technology. They combine it with positivism. They combine it with the militaries, corporations, all this whatnot, all the rest of it. And they have it under electronic surveillance. Now, these people, they keep mentioning parameters. There are only so many coincidences. There's only so much paranoia. It's not paranoia if it's true. It's not narcissism if you're good at something. That's called confidence. So I see that I've gone on, and I've already done minutes from before. So this thing is starting to stretch out and out towards the universe. So yes, a couple videos I started saying, I am speaking to the universe. And then that one time I'm like, alright, I'll listen to a bit of that Pointing guy. He's going, I'm speaking to the universe. But when he's doing it scripted without any spark of life. The reason why I have any subscribers to this channel, my channel here, the reason why I have any people watching these videos, and some of them get credible numbers for viewership. The only reason I'm getting that is because I'm sincere. And because I was around, they know about, some people know me from Kimberly. So there are probably two types of people who find my videos. Or there's a bunch of people. So Aspies might find my videos and go, okay, that's an Aspie that I'm willing to give a chance, and I'll see if he's for real and he's not just another dingleberry. Damn, and then I lose my train of thought. Oh, the people who might find my videos. So they're the people who might know me from the past. They're like, what happened to that guy? I remember that guy. I know that guy's blog. I remember him at Twitter. And all that type of thing. They'll find me here. So I substitute taught a lot in my life. I bet they're kids from back in the day who are now adults, and they found me, and they're like, oh yeah, I know that guy. He was my substitute teacher quite a bit. And they'll say back in the day too, even though they're 20 years younger than me, approximately. Maybe 15 years, who knows, 15 and 25. Back in the day, the teachers used to be like 80 years old, and now they're like, well, I'm just drifting off into random thoughts, but who else? So Aspies might find some benefit, and then anyone who sees the internet as fake, they'll probably like my videos. So I'm doing quite well for myself. I'll just wrap it up. I'm moving. I know that special interests are, the boy in the plastic bubble. So that guy had his immune system was compromised. He always had to stay in the bubble. Well, for the Aspies, they need structure. The structure is the bubble. So but you want good structure. So when I was in a rut and I was going nuts, researching Brett Kimberlin and writing about him, and then writing about Scott Horton's wife, Larissa Alexandrovna, and all that stuff, and Stranahan and whatever. That was okay, but it wasn't really what I should have been doing. It wasn't. But we can't go back to the past and fix it. We can only be in the present. So we need good structure. I guess bad structure is better than no structure at all. And anyway, the internet is dead. That's my scoop. I came up with that scoop a long time ago. I can't find much of value to watch anymore. YouTube had this thing called New to You. I liked it at first, but now it's just I'm not finding anything. I'm going to have to find a new search engine. I don't know if they exist. I don't know. Well, thankfully it's the summer. It's still the summer. I'm outside a lot. Wow, I'm over 30 minutes on this thing. So it's 8:34. I know you have lives to lead. I have one life. One life to live. Isn't that a... Oh yeah, I watched that soap opera growing up. I keep knocking a plastic bag down below. I don't know if I'll be able to mute that out. I'm not going to mute anything out because I'm just going to do a little bit of noise reduction from the beginning when I said no to self. I'll try to find that and noise reduce. Try to know it. That's pretty much all I do. And then maybe I can loudness normalization. And then I don't know what I'll put behind this, but it'll be something stupid. It'll be something in my archives. Damn, that's loud right there. Alright, that's the coffee machine shutting off unless I turn it back on. So I'm going to do that. On that note, I'm going to mute out the coffee noises from 10 seconds ago and wish everyone great days. Oh, right, I used to have this line, hey, wherever you are, whenever you listening to this, I hope you're having great days. And then, of course, I'll hear that on later on those rare times I listened in. They'd be like, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, wherever you're watching this, however, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, that's that. I have to hit stop and wish you well. I'm wishing everyone well. I'm wishing my buddy, myself well. But to repeat Krishnamurti, the observer is the observed. You're that guy. You're the chatter. You're that female. You're that person. Stop paying attention to the internet. It's called social containment. Use the internet for what you want to watch, what you want to learn, but don't follow the news. It's rigged. All of this is fake. Everyone out, anything you can watch with a check mark is conformist. They'll even take what is profound, what is wise, and they'll ruin it with their inauthentic shtick. It's depressing, it sucks, but on the flip side, we have to be brave and patient. Some people like myself are very lucky. I never became an alcoholic. I never became a drug addict. I never became depressed. I had my other thing. My things were Asperger's and some trauma. But I finally figured it out. I sought out the help. And now I feel complete. I want to be here for anyone. So if anyone's in a rut, to anyone who is close to perfection, I'm trying to offer wisdom, ideas, thoughts, moving forward to make this a more healthy special interest as a video maker. That's my plan. So thanks again. I have to go back and mute out that coffee machine. Thank you. This is the Tokyo Shemp Rise and Shine Anti-Medium Mythology Network. The sun is out, the sky is blue, there's not a cloud to spoil the view, but it's raining, raining in my heart. The weatherman says clear today, he doesn't know, you've gone away, and it's raining, raining in my heart. Oh, misery, misery. What's gonna become of me. I tell my blues they mustn't show, but soon these tears are bound to flow, 'cause it's raining. Raining my heart. But it's raining. Raining in my heart. It's raining. Raining in my heart. Oh, misery. Misery. What's gonna become of me? I tell my blues they mustn't show, but soon these tears are bound to flow, 'cause it's raining. Raining in my heart. Raining in my heart. Raining in my heart. Okay, I got 2 more to go. It's the next day. Gonna do Question by the Moody Blues. This song said it all. I'm adding on here after singing that. I found a new edit button on Audacity. It's quite effective. I took out my breathing. So it's on the main page where you're working on. You hover over it, the message says silence audio section. It's got like a volume icon on it, so it's easy to find. We'll pass the scissors for trim. I am going to try to improve. I'm not into narcissism. I'm into philosophy and truth. I have autism in perfect pitch. I was trained in music through high school, and then it stopped. I got dejected over improvising because it was overload to my brain to have to calculate in letters what's allowable. It's like someone who can figure out math without showing how they got the answer. The teacher says, "You cheated." And they're like, "No, I did it in my head." That's what I'm talking about. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door? With 1,000 million questions about hate and death and more. 'Cause when we stop and look around us, there is nothing that we need. In a world of persecution that is burning in its greed. Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door? Because the truth is hard to swallow. That's what the war of love is for. It's not the way that you say it when you do those things to me. It's more the way that you mean it when you tell me what will be. And when you stop and think about it, you won't believe it's true. That all the love you've been giving has all been meant for you. I'm looking for someone to change my life. I'm looking for a miracle in my life. And if you could see what it's done to me, to lose the love I knew could safely lead me through. Between the silence of the mountains and the crashing of the sea, there lies a land I once lived in, and she's waiting there for me. But in the gray of the morning, my mind becomes confused between the dead and the sleeping and the road that I must choose. I'm looking for someone to change my life. I'm looking for a miracle in my life. And if you could see what it's done to me, to lose the love I knew could safely lead me to the land that I once knew, to learn as we grow old the secrets of our soul. It's not the way that you say it when you do those things to me. It's more the way that you really mean it when you tell me what will be. Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door? The 1,000,000,000 questions about hate and death and war. 'Cause when we stop and look around us, there is nothing that we need in a world of persecution that is burning in its greed. Why do we never get an answer when we're knocking at the door?